Welcome to the Free Flowing Health Podcast, where we invite you to embark on a transformative journey towards a healthier, happier, more fulfilling life. Each episode brings you a dynamic exploration of the diverse aspects of health, wellness, and healing. I'm your host, Lisa Brown. Join me as I engage in intimate conversations with inspirational guests who share their unique stories and insights. These conversations will take you beyond conventional thinking, encouraging you to break free from the constraints of a one-size-fits-all healing approach. Our mission is to empower you with the knowledge, tools, and motivation needed to inspire real change. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Welcome back, everyone, to the Free Flowing Health Podcast. Today we have an incredible guest, Angela Medway-Smith, who is a best-selling author, a spiritual leader, a healer, a teacher, and so much more. We're going to dive into her story today and learn about everything that she does. So Angela, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks, Lisa. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, so I'm excited to just uncover a little bit more about you, and I'd love for you just to begin with your journey. How did you become a medium, an intuitive healer, a psychic, an author? Just take us back, to the beginning and just talk a little bit about how you ended up where you are today before we dive into what it is you actually do.
Okay. So, like many children, I was a sensitive child and I was able to sense spirit and see things that other people couldn't. This wasn't dismissed by my family. My mum and my grandmother, who I lived with, they accepted it, but she says, "Oh, that's nice, dear," and that was it, really. I wasn't encouraged to expand on it. And then in my early 20, well, I was 19 when I moved to London, and from a little seaside town in South Wales that was very chapel, very religious. So when I moved to London, it was just like in a different world. And I started to explore different energy healing modalities. I started to explore visiting different churches. It began, and then spirit guided me to a wonderful teacher, a lady called Betty Bolcom. And I've actually written about how I met Betty in the next volume of the Energy Healers Oracle. So that's coming out in August. But anyway, so they guided me to Betty, and I stayed in her classes and her circle for 7 years. And basically, she taught me everything she knew. And so that was sort of started in about 1985. And from then on, my appetite was voracious. And I delved in, I went down lots of rabbit holes, like Alice in Wonderland. And basically settled with working as a spiritual healer and working as a psychic part-time while I did other jobs to pay the mortgage and while I raised my family. And then 10 years ago, I just turned around and said to my husband, I can't do this anymore. I really need to be following my soul's path. And so that's what happened. The journey took many turns as well. So I started working up in London as a spiritual consultant, again, traveling 200 miles to London and back. The draw was that my son was living there at the time and he was only 16. And that from then on, I started teaching again because I taught first in Australia in 1990. And I started healing clinics up and started mind, body, spirit shows and festivals in my town, and really wanted to introduce people to the incredible opportunities that energy healing can bring. And my writing journey started in a very different way. I channel the Ascended Masters and Archangels, and Saint Germain actually said, well, you'll be writing a book. And I'm like, really? I didn't have any ambition to write a book. And by the end of this year, I'll have written 10.
Yeah. Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, it's a crazy, crazy journey. So I've got 2 channeled books for the Ascended Masters and Archangelic collectives, and they're based on the divine rays and sacred flames. And then the last couple of books I've been writing in have been my passion. So the Energy Healers Oracle is the last published book I have. And this week I'm working on it because it was voted, I still can't believe this. It was voted number 22 in a list of 100 best healing books of all time.
Oh my God, congratulations. I just got goosebumps.
I know. I still have goosebumps. I've known about this a week and my body is still sort of bouncing. The people on this list, Lisa, oh my God, Deepak Chopra, Dr. Alberto Violdo,
Okay.
Barbara Brennan, loads of New York Times best-selling artists. And then our little book is up there as well, along with your dear friend and mine, Lady Savante Wilkin. So she was in the Oracle, the first volume of the Oracle, because we're just about to write a new one. So
Right. So we're all involved in that collaborative book effort and the latest and greatest high vibrational wellness, which we're both contributing a chapter to,
oh yes.
will be out in July, as will this episode. So
Oh
lots of
wow,
fun stuff.
fantastic.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Fabulous.
Um, right. So before we actually dive into like what an ascended master is, what an archangel is, can you just take me back to the time that you discovered these gifts as a child? Because I assume that if not all children, many children are psychically open and attuned to their higher spiritual gifts, but then at a certain age, that gets cut off just because, people fear what they don't understand, whether it be parents, family members, school teachers, society in general. So I just want you to talk a little bit or touch on the topic of children being born into this world with certain innate gifts and what that looks like and what were your particular gifts that you recognized at such an early age.
Okay. So children haven't been programmed by society. Their brains haven't been filled up with conditioning and with limiting beliefs. So if they see a person without a body, they'll chat to that person without a body. They'll chat to the fairy at the bottom of the garden. And, you know, I've always been a healer. My belief is that the gifts we bring into our lives are the gifts that we've amassed through the many lives we've lived as a soul. And so I've been a healer in many, many lives. So I wanted to be a nurse when I was a little girl, and I was taken off that path strangely, which is also an interesting story. But so I'd put my hands on things, and plants would grow and do better when I talked to them or sang to them, even without knowing. And I had my imaginary friends who I used to chat to. I was just a really happy little child. I mean, actually, the same thing happened to my own children. They could see spirit until they were 5 or 6. And I remember a conversation with my daughter, She's very sensitive. And I said to her, you know, if people come into your room at night and they want to chat to you and you feel good about it, then, you know, go ahead. If you're uncomfortable, then you just ask them to leave. And if you just don't like it and they won't go, then you come and get mommy. And that's what she did. And that's how we worked it when they were little, you know. And I used to take them out of body at night as well. And we'd go on journeys. I'd say, where do you want to go tonight?